Well, we're at the home of June Walker and Virginia Ann Walker, and we've been talking with Virginia, and now it's our turn to talk to June to see how we can rack his mind and get the things he wants to say out. But I guess one of my first questions, June, how did you start in the farming business in the first place?
I think I was just sort of born in it, John. Okay, my daddy was a farmer and a cowman. And when I was a little boy, I followed him just like a puppy. And anyhow, so as long as I can remember, that's all I wanted to do, really. And it's, farm and raise cattle. And my mama gave me a little part Jersey calf when I was 5 years old, and my daddy gave me one just after that if I'd stop sucking my thumb, so I put socks on my finger to stop sucking thumb at night. But, that's all I ever wanted. Went to school down here. First day at school, Miss Frances Parson was my teacher, said I told her all I wanted to do was just teach me to count. I knew my cows, I just couldn't count them. That's all I ever wanted to do, right?
I believe at one time you have spent some time on the Chickasaw Electric Board.
Yeah.
How have you seen the electric facilities and the growth in the county helped by that?
Well, going back just before that, I remember when we didn't have any electricity out here in the country. I remember when we got the first time to turn that light on, and then to turn that we had lights even going down to the barn where the cows were. We'd go check the cows at night. And before that, we had a deep well with a gas motor on it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we would run out of gas and we'd have to go fill it back up to gas before we could water the cows at the barn. But the light thing has been a wonderful thing for rural people. And Daddy was on it for a long time, and when he died, I went on the board, and I've been on there since 1973. Sure. And we've got, one of the best electric systems in the country right here for Fayette County.
So is there something pivotal that you can think of that has most impacted your life so far?
Uh-huh.
Tell us about that.
Going to Joiner's Campground. And as a child and then as a teenager, and I went on a hayride, and June came and sat by me, and so that was a real impact.
Sort of about like this.
That's wonderful.
So 7 years after we went on the hayride, we were married. So that really did impact my life.
Yeah, you're quite well known in the county for your aggressive pursuit of the state of the art in raising the cattle and going into the cattle registration and being able to get a good herd going. What are the things that you have seen in developing a herd and the techniques you've learned to use?
Well, I reckon first off, Daddy was a good cowman. So I learned a lot of it from him. In other words, his theory was when I wanted to go into the race the cattle business when I was 12 years old. I went with him to Jackson to a bull sale in March of '46, and they also had a few females in that, and they had the fairgrounds, and they had one cow and baby calf in that sale ring, and I thought I'd like to have me one of those. So that fall, I bought 2 cows and half a calf, and
that was the start of your herd?
That was the start of the racing herd. I already had a couple of purebred Hereford cattle that actually my daddy bought from Kyle Wilbur's daddy, Mr. Wilbur, down in south of Oakland. Mm-hmm. And he bought one for me and one for my brother Arthur. Well, Arthur didn't care much about the cow business, so it wasn't long before I traded Arthur out of his. And then in '46, I bought 2 registered horn Hereford cows with half a calf, and that's where it started. At that time, I'd say we had pretty good cattle. Then wasn't long after that, they decided they wanted them smaller, and that's when we far as I'm concerned, that really messed the cow business up. They talk about, okay, belt buckle kettles. You see a lot of feeders, fat steers with the grand champion. You see the man belt buckle up over the animal. The animal was so small. Okay, supposedly getting them more efficient. All right, they overdid that thing and going to the small kettle. And then in the late 60s, they started the other way. And then as big and tall as they could be. And then they overdid that thing. And then we started back more or less with a moderate thing now. But in I reckon the 60s or 70s, somewhere along in there, I was in Louisville at the National North American Livestock Exposition, and a man was standing on a 5-gallon bucket with a set of clippers trying to clip an animal. That's just how tall it was. So that was extremely out of line. Okay, when I got between, I reckon, my sophomore and junior year, I went to work at Circle M Ranch in Senatobia, Mississippi, which was the #1 pole Hereford thing in the world at that time, and worked there that summer. And for 10 years after that, whenever they'd have their annual sale in February or a national, Mid-South Fair one year, but, worked there part-time after that. And that was sort of got the bug, I reckon, increased it as far as the cattle business. But I also realized that that wasn't the kind of cattle that I wanted to raise. And that I couldn't compete with the millionaires in the business. I buy yours and you buy mine. I was afraid I was going to get hung.
So you sort of settle on your own brand.
That's right.
I know you've been a leader in cattle production in the county around. Tell me about the Cattle Association and the cattlemen's organizations around it.
Okay, I've been probably not a lot as far as organization. We have traveled basically North America looking at cattle and really enjoyed visiting with people from Canada down the West Coast. Just most of the states where there were good cattle, we went to see them. And visiting with those people, that's where you're going to learn, or should learn something. That's all there is to it.
I know you mentioned your dad and your family, but who else in the community sort of influenced you and helped you in the...
All right. Mr. Dan Buckler was an ag teacher, and he probably had more influence on boys and young men in the county than any other man. I remember when he passed away, Dr. McKnight, I believe, said he was probably the most loved man in the county. So like Jen said, in other words, we have thoroughly enjoyed life together. We're both strong Christians. We've been in church all our life. I've tried to be very honest in the cow dealings and don't have many regrets that way,
Good. I tell you, we really appreciate you having the opportunity to come out and talk with you. Yeah. And a lot of times I think, who exemplifies a good life, and you two guys were some of the first ones that came to my mind that would do that. So we appreciate being here.
We've had a wonderful life together and a wonderful community. The neighbors and all. If a cow gets out, somebody's going to call, or somebody may call and say, I put such a cow in such a pasture. And it's a wonderful to live where you have enjoyed that much. Been raised here and thoroughly enjoyed.
Well, this past November when we had the fire here, he was out of town and all the neighbors showed up to help with whatever they could. So, it was, and when you were talking about the rural electric, I realized then, because we were without lights, heat, refrigeration, and water for 2.5 weeks. So I realized the value of rural electric.
You didn't like camping out?
I didn't like camping out. Not at all.
Okay. I think